everybody, and welcome back to the next episode in Can Revv Do, where I take my trusty Revv Generator 100R in conjunction with the built-in 2Notes Torpedo remote software and show just how versatile it can be. So far in this series, I've done an Eric Johnson style tone, an Yngwie Malmsteen style tone, and today I'm going to go to a tone that was very, very influential to me growing up and one of my favorite guitar players. Probably the first guitar player that really got me into playing seriously, and that is the incredible Mark Knopfler. What can we say about Mark's playing other than it's just absolutely incredible, and his tone is so amazing. Now again, the standard disclaimer is the tone I'm coming up with here in this video. I'm not claiming to be a perfect recreation of Mark's tone, but something more to get us in the ballpark. To really get it sounding right, you're going to have Mark's hands and brain too. And all I can say is good luck with that, trying to mimic Mark's signature sound. So much of it comes from his right hand in the way that he picks, finger picks. So you'll notice no pick today. Bear with me. I'm going to do my best to play somewhere in the ballpark of what he did. You probably heard in the beginning a little tiny snippet of the Sultans of Swing first solo, which I will show you later in the video, the entire thing, so you can hear what this tone sounds like actually used to perform something by Mark, maybe one of his most classic solos. So without further ado, let's take a look and see exactly what we have. So starting over here at the amplifier setup, first things first, I want to mention, I didn't mention this in my last videos, the Revv Gen amplifier is set to its 10 watt settings, not its 120 watt settings. So that's one setting you might want to make sure is set properly if you're trying to mimic this tone. I have this set to channel 2 on its lowest drive setting, and you'll notice the gain is up around 10 o'clock. Level is almost up to full, maybe right up around 5 o'clock. Treble is right up around 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Mids are around 3 o'clock, and bass is around 3 o'clock as well. Now over to the master section, I'm using master 1, and you'll notice I have that all the way up around 2 to 2:30 maybe. Driving this very hard. If you plug this into a real guitar speaker cabinet, it's going to be pretty loud. Thus also the 10 watt setting I have on the back. You'll notice the presence is at around 10 o'clock, and the depth I have cranked. Pretty crazy settings that I wouldn't have expected, but I kind of liked the result and I was really enjoying this tone. So now over to the other settings that matter a lot. What do I have set up here over in my Torpedo remote software? First of all, I'm using this incredible impulse response from the fine folks over at 2Notes. It's called the Vibro V30. Now, again, as I said in the other videos in this series, I'm not trying to use the same equipment of the tone we're trying to target, really. I'm just kind of going through the collection of what I have, seeing what works the best. And I'd like to thank the folks over at 2Notes for sending this IR over to me to try out for this video. This is very, very kind of them, and I really do appreciate that. So they sent this over for me to use, and it works really nicely. I really, really like it. I'll have a link below to where you can order this impulse response if you like it also. So what am I doing? Well, I'm coming in with no gate turned on, Ribbon 160 mic, a real favorite of mine. You'll notice the axis control is at 0%, directly on axis. Distance is at 0%. So I'm basically directly on the grill, dead center, and it was working for me. Twin tracker is off. I do have the reverb setting on, and I have the spring setting. Very, very nice reverb. I was liking this a lot, but I have it set to ambience mode. The dry wet setting is set to 40%, so not quite even wet dry setting, a little bit more on the dry side, but it still is pretty wet sounding. The size of the spring reverb is 10%, kept that very low, and that kind of probably allowed me to get away a little bit more with the higher wet setting. The echo is at 74%, color is at 83%, and width is at 50%. So basically, that is the settings. No other EQ and no other enhancer. One thing I do want to mention though right now is the little snippet you heard in the beginning of me performing the Sultans of Swing solo. And the example I'm going to give you later, which is the full solo, I did add a little bit of compression in the mix using a plugin that I have within Cubase. It's an 1176 style compressor. It was set very subtly, but a lot of times with these cleaner to edge of breakup tones, we can get some notes that kind of peek out in the mix a little much, and it's pretty standard for an engineer to throw a little bit of compression on. And you'll see from the compressor reaction that I'm showing on screen that it's really not that much compression. It's digging in a little bit harder when I really pop a string, and it's barely working when I'm playing normally. So just a little bit of that in the mix that's different than what you're hearing outside of the mix. Okay, so that brings us back over here and we go, well, how does this sound? Well, first of all, let's do this. Let's turn the reverb off. And here is basically our settings we have. Now, another thing, I'm on my Vigier Expert Strat style guitar and I'm on the bridge and middle pickup. So I'm here on my second position on my toggle switch. And that gives me this tone. Really liking that. If I switch that down to the bridge pickup, I'll get a little more breakup and bite. But on that second position, I really like it. Now, one thing, if you really listen close to some of Mark's tones, especially from those early records, at first listen, you could really think that they're very spanky clean, but there's always just a little bit of hair on those sounds, unlike myself. They have a little bit of edge. They got just a little something where when he digs in, it breaks up a little bit. And I tried to get that close on this. If I play very quietly, but if I dig in, it kind of breaks up just a little bit. Now, if I add this reverb, you're going to notice that this really brings it to life. It might sound like there's quite a bit of reverb here, but when you get it in the mix, it actually helps it to just sit beautifully in there. Again, if I go to the bridge pickup, you're going to get a little more breakup out of it. Obviously, if I was to grab a pick, this is going to take on a whole different life. Back to the second position. But I really do like this just with the finger picking. You can get that nice little snappy, kind of chicken picky type of sound that Mark is known for. So there you have it. There's the tone I came up with. Now, how does this sound in the mix? Well, let's take a listen to my little quick one-take version of Mark's solo that I did just before I started filming this. I found a backing track online. I tried to play his solo as close as possible to how he plays it. Probably totally different in so many ways. As I said, a very hard style to mimic, especially with his finger-picking style. But give this a listen so you can hear how this tone sounds in the mix. Keep in mind, I did add that little tiny bit of compression just to help it sit in the mix a little bit. All right, what did you guys think? I hope you enjoyed that. You have all the settings here. If you really like that impulse response, go to the link below. You can grab it off the fine folks over at 2Notes. You can use it with your Revv amplifier, or even just with any other amplifier and trying to get these similar settings as I had on the Revv, and you might have a really nice tone. Whether it's used for Mark Knopfler or not, that's up to you, but I think it was a tone that could actually be used. Fingerstyle, pick style, with a Strat. I never really tried it with humbuckers, but who knows? It might work really well with that as well. In fact, I think it probably would. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some enjoyment or use out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification button so you get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Ciao for now.